just when it felt like we were rooting for the most unlucky team in NFL history, right? We've had a blocked field goal against our rival. We had something that hadn't happened in the NFL since 1976 with a fair catch and a free kick. It just felt like we could not catch a break, and the Broncos just caught the most beautiful break ever, which will propel us to the playoffs. The haters are going to use this to say that we backed into the playoffs, but you cannot discount what this team has done and what they are going to do moving forward. We're going to break all of it down and more in this video. If you're new to the channel, I'm a diehard Denver Broncos fan named Ben, and it helps me and the YouTube algorithm out a ton if you would like and subscribe. We've known the situation for a long, long time here. For the past 3 weeks, I feel like we've talked about it ad nauseum, that the Broncos had 3 games to win one. We swung and missed on our first 2 opportunities, and now here's the clearest, easiest opportunity. We beat the Kansas City Chiefs. We are in the playoffs for the first time in nearly a decade. We also could get in the playoffs with a little bit of help. So we need Russell Wilson, who's had off since Christmas Day. So he's talking an 11-day mini bye week there for Russell Wilson. And you got Joe Burrow and that horrible defense going to Cincinnati, to their division rival, to play a team that's on a 3-game losing streak, and a Mike Tomlin coach team that is going to fire those dudes up. I think there's a very good chance that the Bengals lose to the Steelers. And then the Dolphins play very poorly when they're playing in bad weather. They're going to New York, and it's probably Aaron Rodgers' last hurrah there with the Jets. You know, he wants to go out on a win. He is probably the most maligned quarterback in the NFL right now. So you could see both of those situations playing out perfectly for the Broncos, and we make the playoffs without even winning on Sunday. But winning on Sunday has gone from something that we all had hoped would happen after that blocked field goal to something that, if it doesn't happen, should be extremely alarming. And that is because something that's just absolutely bonkers and wild and crazy that I cannot even believe. And that is that the Kansas City Chiefs basically are arresting anyone who scares you whatsoever. So let's look here. So first off, we heard from Adam Schefter today that the Chiefs plan to rest Chris Jones, which is fantastic, their best defensive player. They're going to rest one of their corners who's been dinged up. They're going to rest Travis Kelce. They're going to rest Patrick Mahomes. So everyone was saying, so we just got to stop Carson Wentz. We got to remember Carson Wentz played well when he was at the Colts. He took the Philadelphia Eagles pretty far. He blew his ACL that year when he was in the running for NFL MVP, and they ended up winning the Super Bowl without him. But he is a very talented quarterback, and so that's no easy feat to stop Carson Wentz. Well, now it seems as if the Kansas City Chiefs, per Peter Schrager, who is very plugged into the Chiefs organization, he says that the Kansas City Chiefs aren't just resting Patrick Mahomes. They probably are going to divide up starts or snaps and give practice squad snaps to practice squad quarterback Chris Oladokun. So that's just phenomenal. If the Denver Broncos cannot beat a backup quarterback when they have everything to play for, the Chiefs do not care about this game. We saw Travis Kelce and Patrick Mahomes rocking those Santa coats, and Andy Reid coming in dressed up like Santa after that Christmas Day game. Patrick Mahomes thinking about having another baby, which is about to happen. And we know that the Chiefs have also already lost to the Bengals. They want nothing to do with the Bengals in the playoffs. And so the Chiefs do not want to win this game and are putting in a practice squad quarterback so that they don't. Now, before you first off, you need to rejoice about this. Don't say that this is the Denver Broncos backing into the playoffs. We have still beat Tampa Bay, who's playing amazing. We've beat the Falcons, who were playing amazing when we beat them. We've been in 1-score losses every single time that we have lost, other than to the Baltimore Ravens. We are a fantastic team, and just we're not trying to apologize for making the playoffs. Just like the Chiefs aren't apologizing for being 16-1 when they have had crazy fluky wins there. They're not apologizing for winning on a blocked field goal when they got outplayed. The Chargers aren't apologizing for making the playoffs when they had something that happened since 1976. So do not apologize for the Broncos making the playoffs, even though this is fluky. This is the NFL, and everything's fluky. That's why we play these games. That's why we watch these games, because everything is fluky. The Broncos have everything to play for, and this win just got a lot easier. Mile High is going to be a madhouse, knowing that we're wearing the throwback uniforms again. First time since we wore them when we beat the Raiders a couple weeks ago. It's going to be a madhouse, and the Broncos are going to make the playoffs, and I might openly weep on video because I'm just so hyped about it. Other things here is just looking at Adam Schefter's report. He went on to Bleacher Report, he went on to, what's that guy? The former punter, Pat McAfee's show, and said, hey, you're going to see Mahomes sit. You're going to see Isaiah Pacheco sit, who got dinged up on that Christmas Day game. You're going to see a bunch of dudes sit. Now, the one thing that is slightly concerning is we know that this is still a very all of the rest of a team can only have 53 players on their active roster. And so while you're going to rest those 3 or 4 biggest stars, you still have a Super Bowl caliber team that the Broncos are going to have to go out and battle against. And so while we can let our guard down a little bit and not be as uptight about it, we know that the Denver Broncos have to lock in on this game still, because you are playing Andy Reid coming off of essentially a bye week because he hasn't played since Christmas Day. And he's the best coach in NFL history off of a bye week. And so while we can rest and be excited, we know the Broncos need to stay locked in. And as Shawn Payton is talking about how to prep for this, like the one thing that doesn't change, even though the players are going to change, is the scheme will be the same. And while Shawn Payton has struggled when it comes to game management, Shawn Payton prepping schematically and knowing the scheme that he's about to face and getting dudes locked in and having the culture set and making sure that none of these players on this Broncos roster look past the Chiefs, I'm insanely confident about. Shawn Payton painting logos in center field of our practice squad, hanging up signs that say compete streak. The one amazing thing about this Broncos team all year is there have been a number of games that we could have looked past, like get right games and games that we easily could have looked past. The Carolina game, the Colts game. There was a bunch of games that former Broncos teams would have looked past and slept on and lost the game. And that hasn't happened with Shawn Payton. And so I know that won't happen this week because Shawn will have these dudes ready to go. And then the guys that he's getting them ready to go are basically backups and practice squad players. Shawn Payton talking about the grit of this team and basically calling his shot, saying, I think these guys will respond appropriately. And that is all you can ask for. That the only way the Broncos lose to the Kansas City Chiefs is if we sleep on playing a bunch of backups and we think, oh, this is going to be an easy game. They're not doing that because Shawn Payton doesn't let that happen. And while he might bungle timeouts, he might make the wrong call when it comes, hey, should I go for 2 here or kick the extra point? Shawn Payton locks dudes in. And when it comes to all the skills, like being a great coach in the NFL is like juggling a bunch of balls, and there's certain balls you can drop and there's ones you can't. And I think a winning culture, getting dudes ready to play, having them all bought in, all going in the same direction, those are the balls you can't drop. And when it comes to little in-game adjustments and things like that, fine, Shawn isn't the best at that, but Shawn will have these dudes ready to go, and he's playing against an inferior team. And even when the Kansas City Chiefs were full strength, it took a blocked, fluky field goal to beat this Broncos team. I think Bo Nix gets his first win against the Kansas City Chiefs, and it's going to be at home. And then you got the wind at our back as we're playing with house money going into Buffalo, a team that we beat last year with a team that Shawn didn't even like. And I just feel like all of the cards are in our favor. And especially as you see more and more advanced analytics come in at just how phenomenal Pat Surtain has been playing. We've seen him shut down every great receiver that he has gone against, including Jamar Chase, the best in the NFL right now. And you look at how he played against Jamar Chase in that game, that 3 receptions for 27 yards and 0 touchdowns. Just phenomenal showing by Pat Surtain. We know Riley Moss has a swing back game in his future. And why don't we match up well against the Buffalo Bills? We know that the Buffalo Bills were supposed to be in a rebuild year this year. They lost Stephon Diggs. Their offense is I would take playing the Buffalo Bills offense over I would take playing the Cincinnati Bengals offense. And then defensively, they're not like a phenomenal defense. They got Von Miller, who's, Garrett Bowles will be able to handle. So I'm just feeling insanely excited about the future. The Broncos are going to make the playoffs. It's going to feel amazing that none of us bailed on this team, and the future is bright, y'all. And that's something we can all believe in.